Hi, this is Vicki Hyman at NJ Advanced Media. I am here, as always, with Craig and Carla for our Game of Thrones Roundtable, the last one of the season. And we have much to discuss with the deaths of 5 or 6 significant characters last night. Why don't we start, of course, with the most significant of all? And I can't even actually call it a death because I do not believe he died. Of course, I don't believe that Syrio Forel is dead. So there's that.
Yeah, you're one of those truthers.
I am one of those people. So Jon Snow was stabbed to death by the men, some of the men of the Night's Watch, who were very upset about his pro-wildlings. I think it's an anti-White Walkers killing everybody stance. Led outside by Ollie, he gets stabbed to death and left for dead. We see his eyes open. Light seems to be leaving them, but do you think he's dead?
I would say no. I'm gonna go out and say no because Ghost wasn't there. Melisandre came back.
Mm-hmm.
And we know from season 3 with Thoros, the Red Priest,
mm-hmm.
that he can bring people back from the dead.
The Lord of Light. We need to believe in the Lord of Light.
Yes, we need to have faith in the Lord of Light that Kit Harington will not be off the show since he's the only character left at the wall. Not even just for the storyline, but George R.R. Martin did promise that we would know his parentage.
His parentage. How can they just leave that hanging? I mean, he's got to be some sort of presence moving forward.
Right.
And also this season, his not his parentage, but the story of his presumed parents, Lyanna and Rhaegar Targaryen, was brought up twice this season. Why would they do that if they were just going to drop him?
Right, and they also, and with Melisandre, she sacrificed the daughter, and nothing came of it. When we were talking about last week, well, what is that sacrifice going to mean for anything? And she technically, if Stannis was supposed to be a king, she sacrificed 2 people if we believe he died as well. So 2 kings' blood, 2 people dying. So to have to save.
Although we've always had this feeling that when Melisandre was saying, "Oh, I see the flayed men banners going down," it was never very specific that Stannis, you are going to win.
Right.
But she seemed very shaken and oh my God, what happened when she came back? And so even if she was playing a different game than Stannis thought she was playing, maybe to move Jon Snow in, that didn't seem to be the case.
Well, there's always been the rumors too that he was one of the ones that would rule over the kingdom. He was one of the rightful heirs to that. So it just doesn't matter that maybe that's what she saw, and that's why she left in a hurry. She saw him dying, but there was just too much. Ghost is always there. Ghost did not come around. Melisandre did not step up, and I mean, we kind of, not that we saw this coming, but we were talking about Ollie and these scenes that kept coming up. And George R.R. Martin has a tendency to slam it down your throat that it's going to happen and really make you mad because you expect it not to happen. But
Carla, dead?
No.
Thank you.
I mean, Zombie Mountain exists. Why not zombie Jon Snow?
So you think it could become one of the White Walkers?
Maybe that's gonna be the twist. He's gonna I was expecting actually the blue eyes to appear. But I mean that would be really far fetched or whatever. But
he could be a White Walker with a conscience.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a different kind of. I don't know. I agree. I don't think we've seen the last of Jon Snow.
Okay.
And they also say that Melisandre, the person that she believes in to be the ruler over the seven kingdoms, is resurrected at some point. That's in the prophecy of it. And if Jon Snow technically does die and is resurrected, he is released from the Watch. He is no longer
That's
the
true.
Night's Watch.
So he can rule over the realm. It's true. Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of theories floating around the web. It's not hard to find. There's ones about the ice cells. There's sort of things. Yes, there are many,
obviously,
many theories.
the book is a little bit more. So they've been talking about this for 3 years. Is what we're talking about.
Do you think Stannis is dead?
Yes.
You think Stannis is dead? Well, I mean, she did seem to be very, going down.
Very choppy.
I told you it was going to be Brienne. I knew it when I saw that. I knew it. I told these guys that it was going to be Brienne, stabbing Stannis. And
was it the most frustrating scene for you? And it must have been you watching Brienne looming in the whole episode. And as soon, the whole season, she's been looming.
Yes.
She's been
waiting
looming
for
the whole
light
season.
to come up, and she turns around, and then the light comes on. That was very upsetting to me.
But I also do think that I've read a few things. If you want to read rumors online, that this could be an introduction into something else where maybe Stannis doesn't die.
Stannis?
Not zombie Stannis. Maybe she takes pity on him, seeing him at his weakest, seeing him after he lost everything and there's no faith left, and he saw his wife
he admitted
commit suicide.
what he did. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm wondering.
Brienne is not one of the merciful ones. Brienne.
She's not, but I mean, as I always say, until you see the head separated from the body,
Right, I still think the Hound is still alive.
I'm sorry, yeah. I think the Hound is still alive too. I think everybody is still alive. And I also really did think it was kind of noble the way Stannis went out.
Yeah.
I've always liked him throughout. I think his main problem was that he's
Killed his daughter?
yes, that was a problem. That was definitely a problem. But he's been too rule bound for too long. Like he did this whole thing because he felt that as Robert's next youngest brother, he should take the throne because Cersei's kids were bastards. And but I like the way he kind of kept it to the end, where he's like, okay, I admitted my sins. You have to kill me. Go ahead and kill me. Do it.
Yeah.
So good for you, Stannis.
And he could have died in that fight scene right there. I feel like they wouldn't have had that. I don't know. There's just I feel like we're going to go into next season with a little bit. Oh, we have to be optimistic, I think, for once.
Well, I'm optimistic that Sansa and Theon fell into a nice pillowy mound of snow.
I hope. I mean,
that would be too much. There are like no Starks left. Like, come on, we need like at least a few Starks up there living. Like, yeah, I think they'll be all right. Like, I think they're alive. Yeah. Like, I really
And
do.
it was a nice moment for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, holding hands, jumping
into the snow. Like, that's how you, like, bond as a sister and adopted brother.
Jumping off ramparts together. Yes,
exactly.
Of course. I don't want to know about your upbringing. And we do have a Stark who is alive and well and living in Braavos. Well, I don't know how well she is anymore. She's blind now. But Arya Stark, of course, finally had her revenge on Meryn Trant. And I'm very glad they didn't actually put her in a sexual situation with him, because after all the show has gone through this season with its rapiness and all that stuff. So we find out that Meryn Trant also likes beating on young girls. And one of the girls he decided to...
More reasons to
yes, he decided to beat on was Arya Stark, who had stolen a face from the Hall of Faces.
Yeah.
And ended up with just one of these fist-pumping, wonderful moments, which you don't normally associate with when a man gets both eyes stabbed out and is repeatedly stabbed, but he deserved it. Yeah. And it was really awesome.
And it was a good revenge Arya scene, which she's had these in the past, and when she was with the Hound, it was great, because it was something you were always rooting for. And this one kind of, obviously, took a bad turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was
I mean, I'm still I know, but I'm still kind of confused as to why, like, she lost her eyes. I guess, like, was that her sacrifice?
Well, I mean, Jaqen was very upset because she still is holding on to Arya and Arya's revenges, and so this is her punishment.
Yeah.
In the book, she loses her sight as well, although I don't think she has her revenge on Meryn Trant in the books.
I don't think so either. And,
yeah.
and it's more of a lesson in the book for her, as it is here, for her to in her training, and I think it keeps going. With that.
I don't think she's going to be permanently blind, but
But we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But yeah, that was her punishment. Let's just, before we get to Cersei, the 5-minute long Cersei naked through King's Landing scene, Jaime, Dorne, Myrcella, the Dorne subplot has been the worst subplot.
He was a really great father for 5 seconds.
For maybe six. I also thought it was really strange that, for everybody who's watching this has watched the show. But Ilaria Sand bids farewell to Myrcella. Jaime's taking her back to King's Landing, which was the plan the entire time. Okay, good. And she gives her this big kiss with poison lipstick. And so they're like not 5 or 10 minutes out of Dorne, and Myrcella and Jaime have a wonderful father-daughter moment where she's like, okay, yeah, you were, having sex with my mom. You're my uncle. That's okay. I love you. I'm glad you're my father. And then she dies because she was poisoned by
that
Ilaria.
Scene finally makes sense in the prison of why we needed to see that.
So
I guess.
Besides making the breast quota.
It was sex position important to the plot. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it just shows again the Dorne is completely pointless.
It was just okay. Like the really really disappointing thing about Dorne is that the thing is that they were just basically pieces of meat. Like when I first heard about Dorne, I was so excited because I'm like, yeah, female warriors, and it's like Oberyn Martell was so awesome, and then 3 women warriors are gonna be so awesome, but all they really served is this sort of male titillation, they've never really had characters, and that's all they did, which is so disappointing, especially this weekend I watched Mad Max, and it was all about they had half naked girls around there, but they had characters, and it was so greatly written. And then I see watching this episode, I'm like, they've really served nothing except to be naked and to and to basically to like the male the male audience. Like it was just
it was
so
still boring to
disappointing.
me.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna throw it out there. It was still boring, and
it was boring.
And at the end of the
Like,
day,
yeah.
the whole mission was to
Yeah.
bring her back
Yeah.
alive. And after 5 episodes of doing it, it just didn't happen. It was just one of those underwhelming storylines again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it had to be put in place because apparently when Jamie returns with the dead daughter, although they were like, again, 5 or 10 minutes out of door, why didn't they just turn back around?
And it's also the timing thing. Why did it take 5 episodes to do this, opposed to it took them how long to get, Ser Jorah and Tyrion to get to Daenerys? I mean, like how quickly they did that.
And Meryn Trant across the narrow sea. The narrow sea. It's not that big
They're
to get to Braavos. So Jamie's going to return, and Cersei's finally out of prison, and she's going to be obviously very upset that Myrcella is dead. They're setting up a Dorne versus upping the ante, the Dorne versus the Lannister fight. So I guess maybe the Dorne people will go with.
But Justaina's now in this small council. Like how is this gonna they really point because Cersei's not gonna be like, oh, you poisoned my daughter.
Yeah.
Yes, Trystane, go into the small council.
But he was also in love with her, and he might be upset about it. So you don't know how that's going to react too, because he actually was in love, and Jamie didn't know that. So he knows that he didn't have anything to do with it. So that could lead it to more, West Wing drama. That's a Game of Thrones, but but we have the mountain.
We have Cersei first doing her walk of shame, her 5-minute long walk of shame, which they used a body double, by the way, which I thought was interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, and she was forced to take off all of her clothes. After confessing to only one of her sins, she only confessed to having sex with Lancel. She didn't admit to killing Robert. She didn't admit to incest with her brother Jamie. There's going to be a trial for that later, but the Sparrow decided to let her go to the Red Keep. And so she walks naked through the town, which I thought was, I thought it was a very good scene. I mean, wasn't her body, but her face was awesome. Yeah. She should get an Emmy for her face.
Yeah.
It was a very powerful scene. I think it was the first time you actually saw her really beaten down, and this whole time she's even been in jail. And, I mean, the Maester who said that the way to get out is confess. And she did. And they're going to have revenge. I mean, that's the only thing you're hoping for with this storyline. Is there's going to be some sort of climactic
Are
entry.
we happy though that Cersei is going to have revenge on the High Sparrow? I mean, we hate Cersei.
But we like Zombie Mountain.
Yeah.
Do we?
I don't know.
I don't
cool.
like Zombie Mountain.
No, but that was like while she was walking, I felt really, really sorry for her, and I don't Cersei has done some awful things, but I still felt sorry because that is not a punishment that is the whole thing. I was feeling very sorry for Cersei, even though she probably deserved some things, but not that. So it was very.
I thought she deserved it.
The whole.
Yeah.
I didn't feel so sorry for her.
It's not like the Jamie turn when Jamie became our guy that we actually liked. We hated him originally. I think Cersei.
Cersei has never done anything redemptive in her life. I mean, she's never thought of anybody but herself. And while I don't necessarily agree with the manner with I don't like the punishment, I didn't really feel bad for her. Okay.
Zombie Mountain.
Yeah. Zombie Mountain.
I'm hoping for some zombie.
Who is going to have revenge? So that'll be interesting. At least they'll be fighting with Zombie Mountain.
Well, I guess that's a lot to look forward to next season.
And Daenerys is back with the Dothraki.
Oh yes, which is a little weird. She dropped her ring, I guess, as sort of like a breadcrumb.
Either a breadcrumb or so they don't identify her.
Yeah.
Whoever they're bringing.
I mean, I don't know. I think they're gonna recognize the blonde lady with the dragon up. I don't know. I don't think there's any way they're not gonna know who she is. And how are they gonna find her by the ring in the middle of the? I don't know where they are.
I don't know. Another disappointing ending to a season.
Okay. Well, that is enough for today. Thank you very much for joining us throughout the season discussing Game of Thrones. And I guess we'll see you in about a year, or maybe we'll start a book club when the next book comes out, if it comes out for the next season.
If it comes out.
Okay. Thanks for joining us.